Gosh, that sounds fantastic actually. Deliberately boring. Before me, the Mark IV Golf. I used to have one of these, it was a diesel. And this looks like a diesel because they all do. The most understated hatchback you could get from the late 90s. This one is a bit different. This is the special model. You can tell by the massive wheels. Although, no you can't, because these aren't standard wheels in any case. Nobody had 19-inch wheels on their cars in 2000. Struggled to get a 19-inch TV. The point is, the Mark IV Volkswagen Golf never made any real effort to look that special. It was just a box with a distinctive slabby C-pillar. It's not only understated, but it's deliberately boring. Cars like this don't really go old, because when it was new, it didn't look particularly fashionable or interesting. And now it still doesn't look fashionable or interesting, but it also doesn't look out of place, because they've never bloody gone away. Unlike the rest of the hot hatchbacks, this one isn't shouting about it, it's simply being what it already is. In a world where young men would be driving their cars around in their puffer jackets and their hats on backwards, in their Citroen Saxos or Renault Clios or Vauxhall Astras or even Ford Fiestas, this just sat quietly in the background, remaining anonymous. It's kind of cool, yes. Not cool as in everybody thinks it's cool, but cool as in it doesn't really care about what other people think. It's almost the James Bond of the hot hatches, because it's more than just a hot hatch. This has a 2.8 V6 with 204 brake horsepower and 4-wheel drive. I'm undecided though, because the styling or lack of styling puts me in two minds. One thing, there's nothing really to talk about, and the other thing is there's nothing to be offended by. So the front wing, yes, they didn't really design that. The door, they put a little strip on it and they applied these practical handles that open the door. The rear door is quite big, which is useful for rear passengers to get in and out of. Style is in a massive blind spot called a C-pillar. Not really any style in the boot or the rear bumper. And the other side, of course, is exactly the same, except the opposite. But function-wise, we do have rather big disc brakes on the front. And we have disc brakes on the back as well. One of my favourite things to bang on about in cars is door shut sounds. Now, the Volkswagen Golf, well, basically blew its own trumpet about its own door shut sound. So, well, it's all right. Door sound technology has come a long way backwards since the 60s. The other thing the Volkswagen Golf is famed for is its durability. Durability ladled with fiction. Look at that door handle. That is definitely broken. And it's kind of lack of style in the inside as well. But durable means that things like this break. Look at this door card trim. That's definitely coming off. Look at this gear knob. Something's wrong there, but it does tell you it's got 6 gears and 4MOTION. The air vents all seem to work. The buttons are all quite... Oh, don't switch the hazard lights on. The bucket seats haven't actually worn out. The rear legroom is actually quite good. In fact, it's a well thought out car. It's just they've left a lot of bits that you'd actually like out of it. Like something to look at. If this car was a celebrity lady chef, it would not be Nigella Lawson. No, it would be somebody else. I don't want to say who else, but somebody who can cook really well, isn't particularly interesting, and look after you. It'll look after you. But just don't look at it. For the kind of man that says, I don't care what she looks like, I just want her to feed me. I want her to make me fat. Let's have a look at the engine, shall we? V6, 2.8. Bags of power. But how much torque does it have? Apparently this was considered a towing car champion due to the amount of torque that it actually has. So it's probably like driving a diesel. I mean, it might as well be because it looks like one. But I'll put that to the test in a bit. That's not closed. That is proper handle rather than a switch, which is, oh, the boot's full of stuff. Wow, that really is full of stuff. Right, I better close it back up again. One thing's definitely missing though. That's better. I know for definite that this car has been looked after, except for that bit there. Mechanically, it is sound. Although these engines can suffer with a bit of a noisy top end with the variable valve timing malarkey and slightly baggy gearbox linkages. But there is a bit of notchiness to this gearbox. It's not quite as slick as I was expecting it to be. The other thing as well, as you've noticed, and as I pointed out a couple of times already, it isn't entirely standard. It's a bit lowered. It's got ever so slightly way too big wheels on it, and that does, already I can feel, change its driving characteristic just a little bit. I mean, it's not horrible, but it's definitely just a bit wondery. What I do like is how hot it's got in here. Oh yes. Now, one of this car's party tricks, apparently, is to be able to pull really eagerly in a really low gear, or, well, as you might call it, a high gear. I always think as sixth gear as being the lowest because of how I fathom ratios. And I know I'm incorrect, but I still refer to the low gear as the last gear that you use. So I'm going to try this, pull away in first, into second at 2000 RPM. We're going to fourth now, only doing 20 miles per hour. And now I'm going to try fifth at 25 and sixth also at 25. Well, and it's picking up. It actually picked up from 25 to 40 with no effort at all. I mean, not quickly, but with very, very little effort, which is interesting. Not as interesting as actually, with it being four-wheel drive and having 204 brake horsepower, you might fathom that it's going to be quite an eager thing on the bends and quite quick. I presume it's the Audi Haldex system that is used in this. Didn't actually bother to find out. I made the presumption, and if I'm wrong, I'm still leaving that bit in the video to show absolute in my lack of knowledge. Now, I think it would be incredibly irresponsible of me to drive this car without giving it a bit of a boot in. Don't you? Driving it normally doesn't really feel particularly exciting, just, well, jiggly, to be honest. That's the take-home thought here. Now, let's fling it around this roundabout, and hopefully that Audi in front will be putting his foot down. He is good. Right, let's go. Gosh, that sounds fantastic, actually. That did pick up in a rather delightful manner. Very delightful. And it also gripped as well. But definitely that lowered suspension and these 235 section tyres are way too wide. I think this car could be improved by being standard. Yeah, it's pretty quick, but it's not rapid. And although it grips nicely and goes quite well, it doesn't quite have that addictive feel to it that makes you want to do loads more. This car was £25,000 when it was new, which puts it a little bit out of the price range of your average 90s hoon. And that's why I decided to park it outside a nice house. Not content with that, I decided to park it in a lay-by so I could have a look at it. And then Aldi car park. And then on a double yellow line, right where there's an exit. Clearly because Aldi can be seen in the background again. As I was in a bit of a roll, hills in the background, some wonderful scenery, and then flip it round so we can see a new housing estate with a sales office. Whilst the lady in the sales office looked on with suspicion. And as I meander around some deserted industrial area, I find myself wondering about this car. I sort of should. How much do I like it? Do I like it at all? Would I want one? And the answer is, not sure. Normally, I'd have a clear conclusion about these things and be able to say, I would love one of these, or I really wouldn't like one of these. And I'm still ever so slightly ambivalent. And if you don't know what ambivalent means, look it up. I could just tell you. But, you know, we've all got Google. Find these words out. Improve your knowledge. I think this car is probably what you would call a grower. It's one of those that you'd have and you just never really get fed up with it. But you never get that excited about either. But I don't know, because I've never had one for long enough. Things I don't like. It's rattly. It's not as well built as it should be. It doesn't go in a straight line as much as I'd like it to do. It's not very exciting to look at. And although it sounds great, a modern day diesel would actually feel quicker. So much heat there. It feels like I'm having some sort of illness on the go. But what about all the things I do like? Well, it's a Volkswagen Golf that I can drive around without feeling like a bit of a tool. That's a big bonus. And all the things that I said I'm not too sure about. I don't mind it being rattly. I don't actually mind it being a bit jiggly. Although obviously the fuel consumption, if you're enjoying it, it's probably not going to be that good. The Volkswagen Golf VR6 4MOTION. It's epic in a rather ordinary way. No, I do like it. I do like it, really. Really I do. Really I do. Yeah, really I do. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for watching this slightly silly but equally informative video about this Golf. Apparently it's going to be going up for sale quite soon, so if you're interested or know someone who's interested, just drop me an email and I'll liaise. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for being a subscriber. Thank you for being a channel member. Thank you for liking. Thank you for disliking. Thank you for leaving more than one comment. And if you happen to have a car that you'd like to see on this channel, again, just email me. I'll drive bloody anything. Unlike the majority of the cars from the 90s, these are still knocking about, outstaying their welcome with their durability and likeableness, I guess. Not sure what it is. I wouldn't say I like the car, but I also wouldn't say I dislike it. They're kind of one of those cars that you have when you don't really care about cars, but also don't uncare. I don't fucking know. I don't. Honestly, I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't have a plan, you know. I just start rambling on and see what comes out. Unlike other hot hatchbacks, this one, it just is a hatchback. It's just not showing off. Whilst all the other boys, this car of the hot hatches is the car that gets the ladies, not the other type. The other types are get the kind of ladies that any man could have. This gets a special lady.